The Lungzi building used to be the city hall of Lhasa and was later turned into a prison. The main gate of the building is on the first floor. Before 1959, just stepping onto the stairs would be a terrifying experience. This room was the only office in the building where serfs came to pay tax, grain and service.
西藏的差役呢是分为两大类，叫做这个钢铸老根。那么钢铸呢是用这个人力和畜力制的差，这个老根呢是用各种食物和货币制的差。那么除了这个方面的这个差役以外呢，西藏还有其他的名目繁多的大概有上百种的这个差役。再一点的话呢，这个三大领主啊，剥削农奴的一个手段呢，就是发放这个高利贷。由于这个高利贷啊，这个许多的这个农奴呢，身负非常重的这个债务，甚至有的呢，这个成为这个子孙债世代都还不清。
The basement of the Lungzi building was a prison. The local government in Tibet had courts and prisons. Upper-class lamas and serf owners were allowed to set up private prisons. Many cruel and savage ways of punishment were practiced in the prisons, such as gouging eyes of offenders, amputating their hands and feet, and peeling off their skins. This fetter was made of a huge tree trunk, several hundred kilograms in weight. The legs of 5 prisoners would be bound together with the fetter so that they could not move. The prisoners were given no food. They were so hungry that they bit the wooden poles. Many died as a result. Some made marks on the walls to count the days, the long days that would never end. There was an underground prison cell under the Patala Palace. Many scorpions were kept there to sting the prisoners. Hence it was known as the Scorpion Cave. Once a person was thrown into the cave, the poisonous scorpions would be all over him. No food was provided to inmates in prisons in Lhasa. At mealtime, the prisoners were sent to the streets with fetters and handcuffs to beg for food. Those who did not get food would have to go hungry. The streets were full of beggars. This woman had 2 kids. She was begging for food to keep her children from starvation. This old man picked up a beef bone. Sitting by the road, he smashed the bone with a stone to suck the marrow. This old vagrant was already dead from cold and hunger. His body was covered with a hada left by a passerby. In view of the unique historical and social conditions of Tibet, the central government, acting in accordance with the 17-article agreement after Tibet's peaceful liberation in 1951, made it clear that it would not impose reform on Tibet. The local government of Tibet should carry out reform on its own initiative. When the Tibetan people called for reform, the central government would consult the local leaders of Tibet. However, some people in the Tibetan ruling clique wanted to perpetuate the feudal serfdom system in Tibet. They were opposed to democratic reform and finally launched an armed rebellion. In late March 1959, the rebellion was quelled. The Dalai Lama and some of his followers fled to India. Democratic reform was carried out in Tibet. It put an end to the system of feudal serfdom practiced in Tibet for over 1,000 years and turned 1 million Tibetan serfs into free men.